everybody. We'll say hi to you guys. Sorry about that. Had to get the mic working. Clark's Cove was in here first. And Chad and Nicole are watching from their TV, so hello. Metal Detecting Brooklyn, what's up, Richard? David Alfacetti Art. Mark the Berg. Who else we got in here? PA Relic Hunters, Dispatch Detecting, Gene P, Patty Disharoon, and Tom Kingery just popped in. So I'm going to bring up Expressions from the Outdoors. I know I didn't advertise he was going to be here. I advertised it was a spooky night. Oh, Sandy Reiser. Awesome. So tonight, we kind of touched on supernatural stuff the end of the stream last week, and Wayne had messaged me and said this would be a good idea for a show. So he's here tonight, and we're going to do, supernatural things, unexplained things, Sasquatch, Yeti, Bigfoot, whatever, Chupacabra, Loch Ness Monster, things that can't be explained that you've seen, ghosts, apparitions, poltergeist, demons, whatever it is. Hello, Lisa. So I'm also going to put the link in the chat and pin it. So if anybody's feeling not too camera shy and they want to come up and talk about a story, tell anything that they've seen or witnessed or what have you, feel free. Charlie can't be explained. Sandy Reiser is part of Reiser's Treasure Hunting Emporium. Her channel is, what is it? Ghost Talk with the Risers, I think. I know I should know it, but it's been a long day. Not terribly hot, but when the sun's beating on your brain, it turns it into mishmash mush. So, Woodland Metal Detecting. Hey. So, Wayne, I do have some shorts up here. Some I've seen. Some are obviously edited, but there's a couple that were actually pretty good. Trying to see if I could find the one that I saw, the truck driver one. This one's actually pretty good. So they're shorts, so I'm actually going to share one. And then we'll talk. Let's see. Make it big. Here we go. All right, so I did see this one. I don't know if anybody else ever saw it. There's no sound, really. But did you see that? There's like a little... Did you see that?
Yeah, what is that?
Don't know. They thought at first like it was a little kid or something. Go back to it. I'll stop it on it. So, like it's see-through.
Yeah. I'm going to look at my big screen on the TV real quick. Oh, yeah, look at that. It almost looks like it's a small animal.
Yeah. It's got 2 legs.
Yeah.
Obviously,
yeah,
torso.
Yeah, this is a great subject, and I if I were to be frank, I've really probably had a
thought you were Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Raul. It depends on the day, but that's not, but nothing's really happened, but I've always found the subject fascinating. And growing up with 2 boys, my youngest was always into Bigfoot. So my house, we'd always be talking about Bigfoot, the Michigan Dog Man, all kinds of little cryptid or supernatural things. So when we talked about this last week, it was such an interesting subject. That's why I suggested it, because there's so much you can just delve into. Just like you named a few right in the beginning. The chupacabra, the Bigfoot, Sasquatch. There's just so much to delve into. It's a great topic.
It definitely is. Yeah, you should do it, Sandy. Goes talk with the risers. Hey, Jim Cloak. Backbreaking metal detecting. Hello. You guys can feel free to chat too. It's a little something different than treasure, but for some people that actively pursue the unknown and the unexplained and the supernatural, that's treasure to them. So, but
yeah, I mean, I've done. I did like a paranormal investigation with my wife once. I mentioned a little in last week's show. That was like a pay to do thing, and it was a nice night out. Some of the people there thought it was real creepy. I was a little skeptical based on the tools they gave us to use.
yeah.
If I had more time to vet the tools, I'm not sure if I would have felt that way or would have been more skeptical. But when you get tools for the first time in a night and they're like, use these, you got to take their word for it.
Well, I went to.
Go ahead.
Oh. I went to Penhurst Asylum. There was a big, hey, Ram detecting. It was a big thing, big event kind of thing, like, I don't know, kind of like a tour thing, but it was a lot of people. So, nothing was going to happen. But I would have loved to gone when there wasn't a large amount of people there paying to go through the 4 areas. It was definitely a creepy vibe there for sure. I've only had 2 things ever happen to me. Like when I was little, there's a road called Industrial Way in Eatontown, and there used to be an old house back there that was empty for years. By the time like over the years, kids have played in this house, like hung out in it, whatever. And it had been abandoned for a long time. And I remember one of the times that it was just my brother and I, and we were walking away from the house. And as we were walking away, I turned back to look at the house, and the house had we never went upstairs. We were too afraid to go up the steps because you would hear stuff up there. And so we never went on the 2nd floor. But you can see over top of, say, the kitchen area or something would have been like a balcony kind of. And so I turned around to look, and there was an old woman looking back at me. And then, we went about 90 miles an hour and got out of there.
Yeah. So the house was abandoned?
Yeah. It had been abandoned for many, many years by the time we found it.
Wow. So,
and, there was all kinds of kids, folklore about it. But yeah, there was definitely an older woman, old lady, looking down from the 2nd floor at me.
Wow. Yeah, that's creepy. Was she transparent?
I don't remember that much. I was about 8 or 10. I just had a brief second of looking at her, knowing she shouldn't have been there. It was not a livable home by any means. And, it was just, kids have been rooting through there for years and spray painting. And like I said, the steps were not in great condition to begin with. So there pretty much wouldn't be anybody on the 2nd floor, but you could hear footsteps. You could hear a chair moving across the floor, stuff like that while you were in there. And you'd just be, there's just somebody up there. But, you look at the staircase and you go, there's nobody up there. And, I saw her looking at us. I grabbed my brother by his shoulder and I just hauled butt.
Yeah. Let's get out of here. Yeah. That is creepy. We used to watch a lot of the ghost hunters or the ghost adventures, which they had some pretty good stuff. And I used to like them at first because they would try to disprove the stuff. And then when they found evidence, you'd be like, wow, they found something, after they just disproved all this stuff for the last 3 episodes. So it'd give a lot of their stuff a little bit of credibility. Like they did Eastern State, Penitentiary, which was really creepy. I guess that's supposed to be one of the creepiest places in the United States. I've heard a lot of people say.
Yeah. I've never been there. I mean, I'm not that far from it. Well, there's several, I've always read ghost stories and things like that growing up, haunted places, stuff like that. And a lot of the books had a home that was near my house. It's now known as the Seabrook Wilson House because it was General Wilson from the Rev War, his home. It's right on the bay. And but back when I was growing up, it was called the Spy House. And a woman ran it and stuff like that. So maybe she might have egged on the folklore of it being haunted, but that was another creepy thing that happened. So I went in once when she was still running it as a museum, and you do get this really like your hairs are standing up, and it's real creepy feeling in there. But it's also been listed as one of the most haunted places in America. I'll be honest, a lot of times I walked by there at night, nothing was going on. But one night my sister was out from visiting from West Virginia, and my friends came down from North Jersey. And this is when the publication Weird New Jersey first came out, or not long after. It was still in its infancy. It was probably only book 20 at the time. And they wanted to see some of the haunted places that are mentioned in there. And so I took them to the Spy House. And we parked and we're walking up towards the house. And, hey, Team Lynch, you walk
Hey,
through you walk through a big batch of gnats. They kind of stay there and you just keep walking, right?
Yeah.
These gnats followed us. These gnats stayed with us. Big, huge ball of gnats. Then we walked around the house, nothing. And they had a fishing pier. This was before Hurricane Sandy. And we were walking down the fishing pier, and we could see clearly an old man with the fishing hat, with the little hooks, little khaki colored fishing hat. Hey, Alice Wonderland. And his back was to us, and he was sitting on a resin chair. So we all took note. We see the guy sitting there. We're talking to each other as we're walking down the pier, and it's, not a short one. It's pretty long, 100 feet, I guess. And when we got to the chair was empty and facing us. And okay, we all just saw an optical illusion. So we turn around after puzzling, like this is weird. Turn around, we start walking back, and we get halfway up again. And we turn around and look, and that old man is sitting there in that chair with his back to us again. And we left.
Yeah. Wonder what would have happened if you tried to talk to him.
When we got to the chair, it was empty and turned and facing us.
Wow.
Like you could just sit down in it, and that was pretty creepy to me.
Yeah.
Team Lynch said they never felt anything weird there.
Yeah, we talked a little about Bigfoot last week, and the interesting thing about Bigfoot is I'm not in a position to prove nor disprove, so I'm not going to try to convince anybody either way. But there's two key facts that are really interesting. One, in 2019, they found a new species of orangutan. So they're still discovering new species all the time. Last year, they found a new species of octopus. So is there a species of a large ape running around somewhere in North America and the Himalayas, Russia? Who knows? Perhaps, I don't live in those regions. I can't say. But the thing that's peculiar is there's millions of trail cams everywhere. Why hasn't one caught one?
Well, there are some weird things showing up on trail cams.
Yes. I have seen some of those. There's one where I think they called it like a wraith. I see in the video, it was like this little like white creature all bent over. Looked pretty cool. I don't know if I'd think it was cool if I seen that walking towards me, but on the trail cam, it was kind of neat.
Well, there's still thousands of acres that haven't really been too explored too much. Like hunters don't really go 5-10 miles on foot into the woods.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah. Like in the
if
Northwest.
there's activity with hunters and whatnot, and humans smell there, or however they distinguish the area humans are frequenting, that's probably why we don't see them on trail cams.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a valid point, because like the Northwest region of just North America is just a huge, vast, unexplored region. Like they got the Alaskan Triangle, where I can't remember what the percentage is, but there's a pretty interesting percentage of people that go missing in the Alaskan Triangle, and nobody knows what it is. Or the Nahanni Valley up in Canada, where there's a lot of people have. I think they said since it became a park, there's like been 5 people they found dead. Before that, they'd find people headless in there. So there's interesting, interesting folklore, all up in that region, and a lot of it, coincides with weird sightings. So, maybe there's undisclosed, or uneven discovered creatures. Who's to know unless they actually look and study for it, or deforest enough to where they find them.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of unexplained. Like, there's still creatures. 70% of our ocean and our salt waters have not been fully investigated because it's far too deep and things like that. Like, they're still discovering new creatures in there too, and some of them, they if they came up to my boat, I probably would just die on the boat.
Right.
I'm done.
Right. And yeah, you don't really know what's below you. I was reading somewhere, because I was reading a little bit, because I knew what the subject was going to be tonight, and I had read that there's just large portions of the ocean that are just totally unexplored at this point. You don't know what's down there to any level, which is a valid point. And some of those ocean creatures, you don't even know, how old they are in some degree. I mean, just look at fish like sturgeon, which live to be, real old, or even turtles. Look at how old sea turtles live to. So I mean, it's really a whole unexplored world below the surface.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
the
seen that movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek.
yeah.
Yeah, it was some guy had some footage, if that's the one I'm thinking of, some hunting footage.
Yeah, Mark, go ahead. I put the link up top if you want to come up and talk about anything that unexplained things that happen to you. Anybody's welcome to come up and talk about it. It's pretty interesting. I mean, the government kind of sort of admitted there's aliens, and people used to ask me if do I believe there's aliens, and I'm like, look, our galaxy is massive. We haven't fully explored it, and I'm not pompous enough to think that we are the only creatures on any of those millions of planets in any of the galaxies.
Right. And we're not even sure what all creatures are here on our home planet, let alone, in the cosmos, which is pretty interesting. There was speaking of that, there was a UFO shot down over Lake Huron a few months ago. Might have been a Chinese spy balloon. I don't know, but it was all in the news.
Well, I was 13, and this was in Eatontown again. Remember one time my friends and I were playing around, and I heard this noise. It was like, shh, but really super loud, and not like anything we'd ever heard. And I looked up, and only for in between the two buildings, that length of time is what I saw this huge red and yellow ball, and had like a blue streak behind it. Now they said it was a meteor, but that was pretty freaking big. So I think it should have done some damage when it landed. We ran around to the other side of the building to see if we could find it, and we could not. But it was in the paper, though. It did make it in the paper.
Yeah, did you see maybe about 2 months back, supposedly an alien landed in Vegas? Did you catch that? Hey, Mark.
No.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Buscando, calling from friends. I can't talk today. Hey, Buscando. Eye to eye with a dinosaur age looking bird that looks like it could bite you in half.
Wow.
Dude.
I spent a lot of time actually fishing, on various lakes around Michigan. That was for the longest time that was a passion of mine. And you were talking about what's below the waves, but even at that, when it starts getting like, dark on the lake, and you start thinking of like, what's on there, and you think about what life is like in the water. When you think about it, it's like really a kill or be killed situation for those fish down there. So like in the ocean, that's kind of even scarier when you think about what creatures are unknown down there.
So what's up, Mark?
Well, I'm trying. There's three that stand out the most to me that occurred. One time it was like right after my first divorce. I moved into my very own apartment. And it was a one room efficiency, so I'm just laying there in the bed. And I happen to look over at the front door, and an old man just materialized.
Mm.
He was wearing Johnny Carson pants. He was heavy set, and he was just standing there looking at me. And I looked back at him, and I said, "Come on in. I'm not going to hurt you." So he walked in, sat down in the chair that was beside my bed, and just disappeared. That was it. He never said a word to me or anything. But as soon as I greeted him in, he came in, sat down, and disappeared.
And how wet was your bed after that?
Oh, I had to get up and take a shower. It was bad. And then let's see. Another one happened when I was
Take
metal
lyrics.
detecting. Yeah. The other one was metal detecting. I was at an old home site, and I was there all by myself. And I heard a woman's voice say, "What are you doing?" So I look around, and there's nobody there. So I just answered her, "I'm just looking for old relics of your past, so I could just keep them alive and let future generations know what you guys were like." I guess she didn't want me there because, and all of a sudden, the volume on the headphones, not the metal detector, cut out. So then I fool around with the headphones, turn the volume back up. Like 2 minutes later, the same thing happened again. The volume in the headphones went all the way down. So I turned it back up again. Then after the third time, I guess this lady was like getting a little perturbed and turned them all the way off. And I went, "Okay, ma'am, I got the point. I will leave and I will not bother you." I got about 50. I didn't touch my headphones now. I got about 50 to 100 feet away, and the volume came back up on their own on the headphones. Wow. And then the last
Were you like
one
in a field?
No, it was in a wooded area.
Huh.
Yeah, it was in a wooded area. It was an old home site in one of where I live in Pittsburgh. There's a lot of old home sites in our older park areas. The one I was at Frick Park, and it was just an old home site. A lot of heavy metal all around, and I didn't find anything really good that day. But
Hi,
there was nothing there. Hey, Mikey. Yeah,
Hey, Mike.
There.
Hey,
nobody there.
headed to the creek.
Yeah. So when you walked away and it came back, did you start metal detecting in there and nothing else happened? I'm wondering if it was like right in that area or if you're
was in that area because as soon as the volume turned back up on by themselves, I was like, okay, I guess I'm in a safe enough area now where I won't get her upset. So I just started metal detecting, and I didn't have any further events of volume control going weird.
Yeah, that's really cool. Were you like off what the property would have been?
What's that?
Were you off where the property would have been for the original homestead?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I was about when I was more closer to like maybe 100 yards when it came back on from the old home site. And then, like I said, I didn't have a lick of problem afterwards.
Yeah, that's interesting. Did you ever go back to that area?
Oh yeah, yeah. When I went back one time, and I greeted her right off the bat. I said, I was here before. I guess I must have ticked you off because you kept messing with my headphones. This time, I just want to let you know I'm here. I'm not going to do anything, dumb, stupid. I'm not going to try to like deface anything. I just want to tell, like Deej says, I just want to tell your story. I just want to find something that's relevant to your past. And that day, I didn't have any troubles with my headphones. I found old harmonica reed backings, some other bits and pieces of relics. Like it made me believe that the person who lived there may have been a carpenter because I found, the old wooden rulers that had the metal hinges. I found a bunch of those metal hinges. I found a huge plumb bob while I was there. And after that, after I found all that, I just thanked the ladies, thanked the people who used to live there, and that was it. Never had a liquor problem on that visit.
Yeah, you hear stories of things being attached to objects, and like in museums or various things. I wonder if you could like metal detect an object that has something attached to it.
That scares me.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Because there was one day I was taking a non-related metal detecting video because I used to have a second channel that was called Crap, and it was constantly rebuilding antiquated products and projects. And I was in the middle of rebuilding a electric bike, so I was just like panning the camera around in my backyard. Didn't pay anything attention to it until I went to go edit it. And at one point, when I sweeped across under my porch, there was a shadow person standing there, just looking at me. And I had my dog here at the time, so this shadow person was just staring at me. And a buddy of mine and I were talking, and he was just wondering. He was like, you might have picked up something that shadow person could have been attached to in one of your outings. Hey, you never know, But I've never had any other experiences with that shadow person after that. Hey,
Yeah.
Clark's Cove.
Yeah. Hey, Clark's Cove.
Yeah. And my last experience happened to me at home. I was laying in bed in my bedroom, and I was awake. I was wide awake. And then a being materialized at the end of the foot of the bed, walked over to the side of the bed where I was laying, bent down, looked at me right in the eyes. Yeah. And the only thing I could say was, hello, Dad. Yeah, I missed you too. He disappeared. So I'm guessing that was my dad coming to pay me a visit.
Yeah,
My
that
dad
would be.
hasn't visited me.
Yeah, neither of my parents have visited me.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was him because of the way he walked over and just looked down straight in my face, and I just said, "Yeah, I miss you too, Dad," and he disappeared. So I'm
Hey,
guessing it's my
JBP.
dad, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Could have been a space alien for all I know, and he just laid me back into my bed after being abducted.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever listened to Coast to Coast AM? They'll sometimes talk about like shadow beings and whatnot, And I guess one of the theories is they're interdimensional beings that travel through dimensions somehow.
Yeah.
Well, I always say, like when people ask me if I believe in ghosts, I mean, I've like I said, I've experienced some things that I don't really have answers for. But like for example, your brain can't make a face.
Right.
So when you dream or you think about things or whatever, and people appear in your thoughts, in your dreams, you've seen them, even if it's just passing in a car. You've seen them because your brain cannot assemble a face for you to imagine. I mean, you could draw a random face, but what you think in your brain cannot make a face for you. Every single time strangers are in your dream, they're people you've passed. But nobody's ever proved they existed. Nobody's ever disproved they existed.
Right.
So as long as there's nobody that can undeniably verify that there is no spiritual world, I'm going to have to believe. And Mike said, does anybody believe in spirit guides? I believe something directs you if you're in tune to it.
Interestingly enough, ghost stories can go. They've gone back for thousands of years. Like there's the story of Samuel's ghost in the Bible, and then you can go back. I think they just found like a 3,500-year-old Babylonian tablet that has some of the earliest depictions of what they believed were ghosts. So I mean, these stories in many instances are prehistory. So there's some level of I think like a cultural identity with them, with just like ghost stories or even the belief in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm. Come here, stand up. Say hello to Rachel. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, puppy. Slash is on the bed.
Here's my pooch. Oh, so.
Probably landed on a foot wrong again. He's a real wuss. So he's laying on the bed. I had to pick him up and put him on the bed. He can get off the bed, but he can't get back up there again.
What kind of dog is that?
You ever hear the term Heinz 57?
Yeah.
He's a mutt.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had those. They're some of the best dogs.
They are, because they get all the best traits of the animals that they're bred with, I guess. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, my favorite dog that I ever had was a border lab mix. He was real smart, and he was just really cool.
I got more stories, but I don't want to bore you with them, so I was gonna.
I'm sure they're not boring.
Yeah, they're not boring. I don't have any personal stories. What I had was just like a lot of stuff that I've read, a lot of stuff we've watched on TV. We've gone to like Bigfoot festivals, heard a lot of firsthand accounts. Went on a paranormal thing. If I did have an experience, I'd probably sit there and try to figure out what rationally could have explained it. So who knows if they are real? They maybe tried to talk to me and I just blew them off,
Well, see, that's what I consider myself, a skeptical believer. I got to rule out all the scientific stuff first before I'll believe. But I do believe, yeah. But I just got to figure out, did this cause it, or was it really a spook?
Yeah, and that's a valid way to think about it. That's a valid way to think about it, because when you think about it, there's so many things in this world that you just don't know about. Like we're talking about, not knowing what's in the ocean. It's a big world. It's a big cosmos. So what's happening? Is it a ghost, or is it some kind of unexplained phenomenon that they don't know what it is?
Right.
It's there's a lot we don't know as a species.
No, there's not. I wasn't sure what Mike was saying. I went to do a front yard and ended up in the side yard and found something great. I guess that's having a spirit guide. At first, I thought he was talking about losing, like not realizing how you got there. Like, I have it. I can only work 8 hours. And one day, and it wasn't hot like recently, where you can lose time sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
So I knew I had like 2 hours of my route left. It was 2:00. I was fine. Next thing I know, it's like 4:30, and I'm supposed to be done at 4. And I still had more to do.
Oh, I hate missing.
But I didn't stop walking or anything like that. My truck was in a different spot. Like I was doing my work, but somehow I lost like an hour and a half. We got Clark's Cove up.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, well, I'm going to go now. I'll see you guys later. No, I'm just joking, guys.
Don't you dare.
No, get rid of him now. He needs to, no, Mark.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, I seen your post with the Bigfoot hair.
Yeah, you've got mail coming, Mark.
Yep.
Yeah.
Appreciate
I seen your post with the Bigfoot hair the other day, Clark's Cove. That was awesome.
We're getting ready. Our Sunday. That's why we wanted to butt in. Sunday, our premiere is where we actually went to that festival. So it's our day at the Bigfoot Festival. And then you're going to get to see Melissa's Bigfoot holler again, plus with some other people.
How does my mouth look when I holler?
I thought you were just going to say, and you can see Melissa's big feet, Rob.
No.
Okay.
Just her big mouth.
Yeah.
Do you believe people? Do you believe in like premonitions
Yes.
or deja vu?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Deja
Oh, I've
vu, yeah.
experienced
This goes along with it too, where dispatch is saying one thing I feel is the children that remember the past lives till they're about 6, and I've seen some stories that are pretty believable. Like about children saying things.
You're sick, man.
My mother believed in reincarnation, I guess. She said because we run on electricity, and electricity doesn't die; it just moves from one to another. It just moves on. And hey, Stickman, Sticky. Shit, if I remember what I was gonna say. Oh, okay. Deja vu or a premonition. When I was like, I don't know, 10, 12 years old or so, I had a dream and it was very real. Ever have those dreams? Like it just
Those
really
lucid
seems
dreams,
real.
yeah.
And I remember sitting around a round dining room or dining table. There was a chandelier, and on the chandelier were hanging whitey tighties. And I was with people I'd never seen before. And
What party were you at? Why wasn't I invited?
Yeah, it sounds like a banger.
they
of a
were
party.
mostly kids my age and then 2 people in their early 20s. And we were playing this game that looked like a wheel with spokes. So flash forward to when I'm 15, I'm on this excursion called the Jersey Journey, where we I think I talked about it before. We hiked, biked, triked, sailed, canoed the entire circumference of New Jersey over the course of 6-7 weeks. Well, one point towards the end, we were at one of the counselors' houses or guides, whatever you want to call them. It was a guy and a girl. They were both in their 20s. It was his birthday. So we were at his house, and there was about 6 of us, kids-wise, and then the 2 counselors, a guy and a girl in their early 20s. We're sitting around a dining room table, and we're playing Trivial Pursuit. And the reason why there was whitey tighties on the chandelier was because as a joke, we gave him new underwear for his birthday. Because we'd just been hiking in the woods for like 4 weeks. So we're playing. I go to roll the dice, and I'm like, "Holy crap! Wait a minute! I did this. I've sat here. Like Trivial Pursuit came out when I was 14. I had this dream when I was like 12. And I know people are probably like, yeah, BS, whatever, but I don't really talk about it much. Love you too, Sticky. I don't talk about it much, but now I'm telling, a lot of you. It was like crazy. And I think what made me realize that I had experienced all this in a dream was not the underwear hanging around the chandelier. Apparently that didn't impress me very much. It was playing Trivial Pursuit. So it looks like a wheel with spokes.
Yeah. Wow.
And that was probably the most significant one that I've ever had.
Yeah, deja vu.
Yeah,
It's interesting because I think everybody has experienced deja vu. You get the feeling that you've done something before.
or you've been there, and and it's really creepy when you do it, and you know exactly where to go to do something, and you've never been there.
I've had deja vu experiences that actually made me kind of nauseous. That I'm experiencing something so that I've told Melissa, I said, "Wow, that was just deja vu, and I feel sick now." It just be that intense of a deja vu.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like walking into somebody's house that you've never been at, and can I use your restroom? Oh, it's just no. I know where it is because you feel like you know this house. Like
I had an experience when I was 7 years old where we were vacationing on the Gulf of Mexico. I was with my mom and dad, and I got caught in an undertow. And some guy out of nowhere saved me. And I don't know who he was. All I know is he said, "Put your arms around my neck and be calm." He got up onto the shore and walked away. And I always say that was my guardian angel because no one else got to me but him.
You never know.
And so I believe in all that stuff. I mean, I am a true believer.
Yeah.
I believe there's guardian angels or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know if they're family members who passed on or what. I'd like to think, but my mother's probably mad at me, so that's why she don't visit me. But yeah, I think there is something that guides you, and and if you're in tune to it, you're going to follow it, or even if you're just not putting a thought in, just go and let your feet go where they're going because you're being guided that way. But some people push against that,
You have to have an open mind about it.
Yeah. But I got after my mom passed away, I belonged to a couple different Facebook groups, and where I would see other people posting stuff about missing their loved ones. They're I woke up I had a dream of my dad, and I woke up in the morning. You can see the print in my bed where he sat on it, or the dimes or the feathers, And this woman, every time somebody said that, my mother visited me last night. I could smell her perfume. My dad visited me last night. I could see where he sat on the couch, right? You can see the print. Hey, Corey, the treasure hunter. And this woman would say,
Hey, Corey.
Thank you.
She would reply to every one of them that would say that. These are people that are grieving and finding ways to comfort themselves.
You want to have a seat?
And she would say, well, that's demons. Because the Bible says, the sleep don't feel, hear, see anything.
The Jehovah's Witnesses believe that.
I said, well, you're only reading the Old Testament. You need to get back, put your face back in that Bible.
Samuel's ghost is in the Old Testament.
Says, yeah, but we'll say the Book of David. But I mean, the Book of the Dead in the Old Testament. So
That's
purgatory was next to hell, and that's where you went when you died, because there was no Jesus yet, there was no heaven yet. So anyway, in the New Testament, so those people still in purgatory, they're still there until the second coming, according to Revelations. So they don't see, feel, hear anything, nothing. They're just eternal sleeping. But I came back at her with quotes myself, like Jesus said, my Father's house has many rooms. I go and prepare a room for you. That's not purgatory. That's heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I have to agree where I read something that some spirits linger instead of moving on because they feel what they were put here to do has not been accomplished. Whatever we're meant to do in our lives, because they have not fulfilled that. Whether it's like,
the interesting thing is from a biblical sense, I think it's the book of Leviticus. It talks about not having familiars or talking to spirits guides. It doesn't say they don't exist. It says you shouldn't consult them. And then it's interesting because I think it's the First Samuel, the book First Samuel, where Saul encounters Samuel's ghost going to see a soothsayer. And basically, Samuel's ghost predicts, he's meeting his doom more or less. So from a biblical sense, it doesn't say ghosts don't exist. It just says you're not supposed to mess with them.
Right. Not supposed to chase them.
Yeah,
right.
Well, I do agree with the person where I read that piece where they said that they feel that some people when they leave this human body, wherever we go, they go. And some don't. Some linger, and those would be the ghosts we see.
Well, yeah, Harry Houdini, though. I mean, Harry Houdini had vowed with his wife that he was going to do his best to come back, and she would once a year do everything she could to try to see if he could make contact. And as far as I know, contact was never made.
Because whatever he was meant to accomplish, he felt he did. And moved on. Because like when we pass away, our human heart, I would like to think that they would come back because they love us so much, but it's a different kind of love when we move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not singular.
Yeah, if I was a ghost, I would just mess with people.
I would too.
I would do everything I could.
This guy said he felt they stuck around because whatever in life they felt they needed to accomplish, they had, whether it was watching their children grow up and marry, or, grow up and start their adult lives, or, finishing something they started being built, whatever it is, whatever they felt that their life's purpose was, they haven't fulfilled it yet. So they stay. And they may never fulfill it. So that's why they're still here. And they haven't moved on.
Dispatch detecting, that is one thing I will not touch.
I do have a story of a Ouija. I won't ever
touch him.
So one of my customers has a Ouija board doormat. I won't even when I was 15 again, 15 or 16, I had bought a used Ouija, at a yard sale. And I lived in a group home with a bunch of other girls. So we decided to do the Ouija board.
No.
So it was 4 or 5 of us. And we're all, you're pushing it. No, you're pushing it. We could figure out who was pushing it. So we're asking these questions, and it's moving around. And we're accusing each other of pushing the thing. So we all lifted our fingers up, and it still moved. And then it shot off the board and into the wall so hard it went into the wall. Like it went right through that plaster.
Yeah,
that was the last time I played with Ouija.
I watched my grandmother and uncle mess with a Ouija board one night when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. No, I will not mess with one.
I won't do it again. That was one and done for me.
No.
Yeah, you're opening the door to some stuff that should not be open. That's my opinion when you mess with a Ouija board.
Luckily, we didn't invite any demons into the house, but that whatever they call that little triangle thing just went, it moved, and then it just flew. Yeah. And none of us could have thrown it hard enough to go through the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, the planchette flew off. That's what's interesting, because I messed with the Ouija board when I was a kid once, maybe about 13, 14. I don't know. I was skeptical about what happened, but interesting thing. Penn and Teller did a experiment where they turned the boards over, and so you blindfold the people and turn the boards over, and they'd get different results with what they were saying. But the interesting thing is, so what you're saying is the planchette flying off. That's crazy, because they're plastic too, for them to stick in the wall.
Yeah, and they're just a little white piece of plastic, little window with a little pin in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it just flew. And all of us had our hands up like this because we were blaming each other.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're moving it. Everybody lift up. And then it just, and the staff there swore we had done it, but there's no way we could have winged that thing hard enough. Absolutely no way.
Yeah. Well, even at that, it's plastic. How did it do it without shattering? That's amazing.
I don't know.
Right there.
It didn't go completely through to the outside, but it was wedged in there. There was a hole in the plaster completely through. You can stick your finger in it.
Now we've talked several times about here in the old house that we live in. We get phantom smells. You'll wake up in the middle of the night and smell coffee brewing, or breakfast being fixed when there's not. That's cool. Stuff like that, because that's Melissa's mom, because she always cooked in the house and always had stuff like that going. So
every day, and she enjoyed it.
We always say that's her spirit doing that. So, but yeah, I have. It's weird when you wake up smelling coffee brewing in the house and no coffee being brewed.
That's when you get pissed off, when you smell coffee. There's no coffee.
Coffee and no coffee.
Or bacon.
One night you just really want a cup of Joe.
Hey, Jim Steele.
Did you just say bacon, Melissa? Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
I certainly said greasy, crispy, brittle bacon.
Crunchy.
Hey, Jimbo.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah, there are times, it's kind of weird. You get a real strong whiff of something, and you're smelling it. Because you can't smell a memory.
Hey, Jim.
You can remember what something smells like, but you can't smell it when you're remembering it.
Hey, Charlie.
You have to be smelling it.
You have to be smelling it. You have to
that's-
literally have it in your nose to smell it. Like,
Yeah, that's an interesting point. So, you're going to the Bigfoot Festival next week, Clark's Cove.
That's our video for Sunday. Yes, where we went. That's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago. So because our videos are always behind.
That was actually Rachel and Alicia had been here, so it was the next weekend.
Yes,
Yes.
after Rachel
Uh-huh.
and Alicia, because we have our videos right in
Yeah.
order. So yeah.
hey, Treasure Charger.
Yeah, on my Facebook, there's pictures of when I took my two boys to the Bigfoot Festival years ago. And it was funny because it was at a place where they had like a little trail going through the woods, and they're showing like how Bigfoot would build these little structures and do all these like little things with the sticks. Well, we didn't know what they're doing, so we got there, and my two boys and myself, we went in the back and we started rearranging the sticks, playing with everything. They must have been really mad at us.
But they were.
Oh, I'd love to go on. We've been trying to find if someone's doing a like Bigfoot weekend where they're actually going out into the woods and doing a hunt. I'd love to get involved with
We're
something
wanting to
like
do
that.
that, yeah.
I think just for the fun of it. I mean,
Yeah, there used to be a group that did that up in northern Michigan, up by where our cottage is. I don't know if they're still doing that anymore or not, but they're the ones that would hold the Bigfoot Festival. They haven't done it in a few years, but they'd come through. They'd have plaster casts of what they found. They'd have all kinds of stuff. And the thing that always amazed me is like, how could they get plaster casts from something in the woods, but not a trail cam picture? I never, never could figure that one out.
see, this one was in Sutton, West Virginia. They actually have a museum. In that museum, they actually have some pictures and stuff of one of the original Mount Everest climbers, and where they have a picture of a print in the snow back in what was like
I don't know.
I'm not going to say
remember.
because that way I'm not giving out any false information, but you can Google that and
They keep digging.
Sir Edmund Hillary.
Yeah,
either Hillary or one of the ones
Uh-huh.
of the original Everest climbers where they actually made headlines where they took a picture of
They
a
keep digging.
Bigfoot or Yeti footprint on Everest. So I find that stuff interesting. If there are Bigfoot, I think they're more intelligent than we are. Wolves, you got to take in consideration like the wolf. People live in areas and never see a wolf, but they're there. I think the Bigfoots are the same way. I think there's got to be something. There's too many stories and too many cultures from too far back for it not to be real.
Oh yeah, there's stories
Casey.
in Russia. There's stories in the Himalayas. There's
Clear around
stories
the
in
globe.
Vietnam. There's stories in China, all over North America.
I mean, it couldn't be a worldwide hoax.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, come on.
I did you ever hear that story about where they discovered? I don't even know how long ago it was. Probably 70 years ago or something. There was a bunch of Russian hikers, and I don't remember where it was offhand, but I because I'll see the story occasionally. There'll be somebody else investigating it. So they found all their bodies, and it was a group of I don't know 8 of them.
Yeah. Yep.
And some were like half undressed. The tent was shredded. Some of them didn't even have a mark on their body, but every one of them had like their faces frozen in fear. Those are the people that still had a head. And to this day, they don't know what happened to these people because the site really didn't have any indication something happened. Like the tent was shredded, but it was shredded from the inside out. And the only prints were from them. But to this day, I'm still wanting to know what scared these people so bad that they would go below zero weather to get away from it. Rip their tent open to get away from it.
Hey, Key Date.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I wanna
wolves are much
bounce.
Bigger than
I'm gonna take
coyotes.
off.
We have some pretty
All
good.
right, Mark. Thanks for popping up.
Yep. I'll see you guys later.
Yep. See you, Mark.
See you,
Good
Mark.
chat.
Thanks
Let
for the
us know when
stories.
you
They're
get
pretty
your
good.
mail.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, that
They
was.
are big wolves.
Yeah, Mark had some pretty good stories when he jumped on. Did you guys catch that, Clark's Cove?
No, we were jumping in late.
Yeah, he had some good ones. Yeah, I asked to be on the show because I read a lot of stuff, but I'm probably had a pretty boring life as far as paranormal experiences. I had some scary experiences like with bear trout fishing, but that doesn't count as paranormal. That's pretty explainable.
Yeah,
So,
I still,
Yeah,
like I said, that story, I do see it come up now and then.
I think
yeah,
we all have had our paranormal experiences in some way or another. I mean, I've had experience. I don't talk a lot about it, but there was one time that when I was still living at home and I was asleep on the couch and I was facing the back of the couch and I woke up because I felt someone lean over me and looking at me. And when I looked up, there was no one there. And it gives me chills right now just even talking about it. I've had little experiences like that. I mean, call it what you will, but I mean, the feeling when a body leans over you and is looking at you. It's the only thing I can explain it as, because it startled me that I looked up and was expecting to see someone there and there was no one there. So
Now there was someone there, you just didn't see him.
yeah.
I scared the living daylights out of myself when I was a kid. My headboard had those little, those little rods in it, And I read a lot when I was a kid. I was always reading. I'm laying in bed and I'm reading, and I felt something touch me right here. And I must have gone about 8 feet off my bed, screaming. There was nothing there, so I'm thinking I touched myself, but I cannot. I can't do it.
Right.
And I thought I had reached around one of the rods and touched myself, but even then, even when I was a kid and much more bendable, I can't touch that. Something touched me right there.
yeah, I don't think anybody can touch themselves there. Try and do right now.
It was like something reached up and went
wrist.
and just touched me. I could feel the fingers. So I figured it was me, but I cannot. I can get to here, but I can't get here. I don't know what it was. I've had stuff happen around Gettysburg. I was metal detecting and decided to play Confederate Civil War music and heard someone and say, "Hey, I thought someone was behind me."
Yeah.
That'd be creepy.
Yeah, Gettysburg would be cool. I want to do a paranormal investigation again. Our paranormal investigation that my wife and I did earlier this year, I'm going to do a video right around Halloween. Maybe the week before Halloween, I'll drop it. Short video.
Jim Steele. When he was in the Air Force, he saw 14 UFOs at once. The whole base went on alert.
Wow.
And now I'm going to tell you, that is something I have seen. And I've seen with my own eyes, and I know it wasn't anything else but. And I will definitely argue that with you tooth and nail, because I have seen stuff with my own eyes in the night sky that could not be explained.
Yeah, there was just this last summer, there was pretty credible stories about one landing in someone's yard in Las Vegas. The police were called and everything. There's all kinds of neighborhood witnesses collaborated. It's even the police confirmed it. So there's something to that story, I guess.
I'm going to tell you, back during the pandemic, when flights were grounded, no one was leaving. We were having a bonfire one night. Melissa was asleep. Of course, she had to be asleep. And I'm watching the night sky, and I seen 4 objects, one here in a triangle shape, or diamond shape, I'd have to say, move across the sky in sequence with each other. So the shape never changed. And I was like, Melissa, wake up and look at it. And she's, You know, so I'm the only one witness to that. But
Sorry.
that was a very strange experience. And plus, I knew that there wasn't no planes in the skies during that time because they were not letting no one, all that stuff. Everyone was,
At least not commercial ones.
yeah.
Hey, Tri-Valley.
So that was a strange sighting that night. Definitely.
Yeah, did you ever hear the story Ghost of Flight 401, which is interesting because that's another ghost story that was confirmed by multiple people over a span of various aircraft and even years, I guess. But it was a plane that crashed. They salvaged parts, utilized the parts on different planes, and people would see like crew members from the flight that crashed on their planes for a while after that until they removed all the parts off the plane. Which is
So you have to go back, Sandy. I'll arrange it. Sorry. Camp Evans goes back over 100 years now. It was Marconi. I don't know if you know who Marconi was. It was his first. He created a way. He created the ability to be able to transmit to ships at sea, where before they couldn't. And so it became part of the military, part of the army, and there was some secret things there. And so there was a general that died in his office in that building. So the Marconi building originally started out with Marconi, then it became a hotel for a while. Then it was like a college in the 20s, 30s. Then the military took it around World War II. So I had Sandy out there about 4 years ago. I shared the link to her channel in there if you guys want to go check it out. She's got a few videos up there. She did take some EVP by the creek that's near it. In the woods there where the creek's at, the guy that started our local newspaper here, the Asbury Park Press, he lived there, and they found his body by the creek. And she did get something on the EVP.
That's pretty cool. What'd you get?
I don't remember offhand. It had something to do with the water. It was 4 years ago, so I don't really remember.
Right. I actually got an amusing story from when we were on our paranormal investigation in Ybor. We're there, and if you watch on my channel, I got those treasure quest videos I put out. That one video. And the second video, my wife and I, when we're in Florida, you'll see me going surface find, and I'm finding a dime. And that was when we were on the paranormal investigation because we're going to buildings. And when we went into that building, they gave us these apps, and the apps would do electronic, would talk to you and it would say stuff. So we went into this one building, and everybody's app is just saying all kinds of nasty stuff to them. Like it called one lady pathetic, So I turned on mine, and it was just literally right off the thing. I go, surface fine, and I pull up a dime, and I recorded it with my phone. So I must look like an idiot to all the other people on the, on the investigation with us, So we go in there, and I turn on the app with the thing, and as soon as it does it, the thing blurts out idiot. It was just. It's just hilarious.
That sounds funny.
Yeah, it was.
I don't really remember. I don't know if Sandy remembers what it said. It had something to do with I'm here or something like that. Something to do with the by the water, because she didn't know that they had found him by the water. But it's a small little creek. But she knew. I had told her the home was there. All right, peace, DB. Thanks for popping in tonight.
Only thing I got to say is it's a big world we live in, and a lot of strange things can happen.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to ever know everything.
What you choose to believe in, and
what app were you using, Patty?
There's a good line in Men in Black. There's a really good line in that And that could explain why, the government only just recently opened up, and I don't think fully about the fact that there is life other than just here. Yeah, so she had no clue after she was done. But Will Smith's character asks Kay, well, how come everybody doesn't know all this? How come you're keeping this secret? Like, we should all know this. And he said, well, because you can tell a man something and he won't freak out. But you tell men something and they will freak out. See, one man can understand. A group of men can't. So you might have one in there that understands, but 99 of them are freaking out about it. Freak out's contagious. Much more contagious than staying calm and going, interesting. So there's aliens slithering about.
I believe that, man. I see some of them at Walmart all the time. You want to see aliens? Go to Walmart.
I used to say that aliens dropped off the people in West Virginia and the people here in Highlands, New Jersey. They must have been from the same aliens. No, because you go anywhere in West Virginia, you'll see steps leading up to nothing. And sometimes there won't even be anything leading up to the steps. There'll just be random steps in the middle of the woods. Stairs just built. Okay, where do they go? And there's a few of them here in Highlands. But yeah, I used to say that. I swear the people from West Virginia were put there, and then the aliens said there's a little too many here in West Virginia. I'm gonna pop some of them down here in Highlands, New Jersey. And then for some reason, all them West Virginians and the people in Highlands were like, let me just build some stairs on the side of a mountain.
We got zombies too.
Yeah.
Night, Lisa.
Yeah, remember the zombie in Florida that ate that guy's face a few years back?
Oh, yeah. It was, what was he eating?
You're right.
I forget what he was on, but yeah. And people stood there and watched, like the cops stood there.
Yeah. Yeah, that app we were using was called Ghost Tube when we did that thing. And it was really weird because, we had all kinds of pictures. We had all kinds of various things from that. And it was interesting because when you would go through it, it would go and then you'd ask questions and it would randomly say stuff and it would like record like a little video with it, and it would record the video and record the thing that was going, whatever it would say. It was really quite an interesting app. I don't know if the app would prove paranormal or not, but the lady that was hosting the ghost tours seems to think it was spot on.
Yeah, bath salts.
We have an old prison here in West Virginia up at Moundsville, and they do, it's supposed to be haunted. And you can do, I think they actually have overnights where you can do overnights in that prison. I would love to go up there and spend a night.
I'd do it.
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I'd do it too.
I wouldn't do it at a prison because what if you get a poltergeist and not just a ghost? These are evil men who done evil things.
A poltergeist.
Sitting there going, are you here? Who's here? And all of a sudden, here comes a knife.
But I'd love to go up there and do one of those overnighters in that prison. That would be cool.
Gene P says Moundsville's a creepy town. Been there many times.
Okay, she knows. Yep.
Moundsville is where that prison is?
Yeah, Moundsville. I've been to that prison a couple of times.
Not as an inmate.
Not as an inmate. No, when I was a little kid, but it is a creepy place, and it is. I mean, and it's old. I don't know how far back that prison actually dates back. I have no clue, but I know it is an old prison. So.
Yeah, there's a place here in Michigan. It's like an old sanatorium or whatever, and they'll allow you to go in for the night. They'll supply everything. It's a little pricey, so you really got to do it with a group. But it's something that I would consider doing if I had enough people to do it with.
Don't they have, is it in Lexington or Louisville? There's an asylum.
I think that's Louisville.
Louisville, Kentucky. There's an asylum that you can go and visit and do overnighters in. It's supposed to be really creepy.
Yeah, that would be actually really cool. Doing like a little field trip, get a group of people, go in there.
Oh yes.
Get some equipment. A lot of those places, if you're paying to rent, most of the ones we've looked at, they will provide the equipment and the tools to do the ghost hunts.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Jason.
But
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd be up for something like that, just for the experience of it.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ken, practical
It
Ken.
would make for gripping YouTube videos.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I've always said. You see this stuff. Would you spend a night in this haunted house? Well, yeah, I would.
Yeah, me too.
You want to bring me to spend a night there? I would do it in a heartbeat, just to see for myself. And if these places do have that energy, or whatever behind them, we've stayed up there. What's that hotel up there in Marietta?
Oh, the Lafayette.
The Lafayette in Marietta, and it's supposedly haunted.
It's an old riverboat
And
hotel.
it's an old riverboat, and we've stayed there. And yes, I've walked through parts of that hotel where you get that hair-raising feeling. I mean, it's spots like that. You have to be open to that stuff. But yeah, I've experienced that stuff. It is, and sit and think, okay, that's cool.
Uh-huh.
That was weird. That happened. It does. You have to be open to it.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. Being open to it. That's probably why I don't see anything, because I'm not open to it.
Could be.
Probably oblivious to it.
Well, you have to go in with that mind frame that, okay, it could be. So be prepared. Just be open to it. If you get a chill, take it as that could be something there giving you that one little chill. When that it's always that feeling when you're sitting there and you go, oh, and they always say that spirits.
What, when you get that shiver?
When you get that
I
out of nowhere.
I was told that was a goose stepping on your grave. When you get that shiver for no reason, like your whole body is like, ooh.
Yeah, I've always heard that spirit's moving around you when you get that feeling. So that's how you have to kind of be when you go into these areas that they tell you that there's activity. Then be like that. If you get that shiver, go with it.
Oh, you're talking about it. Actually, I'm just saying, just a random time you're like just sitting there chilling and like, ooh.
Well, yeah, we get yep.
And you said
that's a goose stepping on your grave.
Goose stepping on your
Goose
grave.
stepping on your grave.
I've never heard of that.
No.
Yeah, I've heard it was a person stepping on your grave. I've never heard goose.
Yeah,
I like the goose a little better. I like the thought of a Christmas dinner stepping on my grave.
But I have walked into cold. Hey, chilling and grilling adventures with Dan B.
Hey, Dan.
I've told this story several times over where our command center is at. Before we turned it into a command center, I swear I've walked into that room and we have a ceiling fan right dead center and the chains hang down to where you can find them. I have walked into that room and looking for those chains and I'd be waving my arms like this and could not find them, to the point that I'd have to go out into the hallway and turn the light on, and then there they'd be. And then you get this feeling of chills. And I've actually been in that room where I felt like I was being pushed out of it. Now that we have it as the command center and we have history in there, you don't get that vibe as much as we used to. Back when we used to have a lot of old furniture in the room, and we got rid of all of it. But I swear, I've told this story before. I've walked in there and I'm looking for those chains because you have one for the light and then one for the fan, and not find them. And get that feeling of, okay, I know they're here. Why am I not finding them? And to the point that the anxiety starts kicking in, and you got to go out and turn the light on in the hallway to find the chains, and then there they are.
Yep, I just
That's
shared
weird.
a video with you, Jersey, of our little short I did
Dan.
when we did a paranormal thing. I don't know if you want to show it or not. You don't have to
Yeah,
if
I
you don't
can.
want to.
No,
But
I can.
it's just a short, less than a minute video that we did. That was us in Ybor, and I did a silly little video on it, but it was kind of fun.
Firefighter.
Hey, firefighter.
Hey, firefighter. I can't see the chat, so if anyone's saying hi, Patty, I see you now, but I can't. I'm on the live thing. I don't see the chat, so if anyone said hi to me and I didn't say hi back, I wasn't snuffing anyone. I'm not paying attention to the chat.
We're bad about that. I'm the world's worst on knowing people's names. So when I call you by your channel name, more than likely I know who you are, but I can't remember it. There's so many. Melissa's pretty good at remembering names, but I'm not. I'll remember your face until I meet you in person, and then I won't.
Yeah,
let's make this
I'm bad at that.
yeah,
Okay.
that was
full screen.
how we spent my wife's birthday this last year. We did a paranormal investigation. But
I don't know if everybody can hear it.
yeah, you can hear that's that ghost app we were using. Yeah, it was actually a pretty fun night.
Yeah, pretty cool. So where was this at?
That was in Ybor, a city in Tampa, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And they did like paranormal tours, and they gave people the tools and everything, and they would go and they'd start the night off in one building, and then they'd go to another site and then end at another site, and they'd let you walk around, use the tools, try to get EVPs.
That's funny, Jim.
We got using the app, we got some stuff, but I'm being nice when I say I'm skeptical as to how convincing the evidence is from the app. It was it didn't seem very paranormal the way it did. It seemed like they just had a hodgepodge of words in there, but there were some people that were using legitimate equipment that would get temperature readings, things like that. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, firefighter Andrew.
Yeah, Ken. There's sometimes I forget my own. I'm Bob. You wouldn't think you could forget Bob. I do. And Melissa, well, I can't forget 30%. I just call her 30% when I forget her name.
That happens a lot.
I just say, "Hey, 30, come here."
Yeah.
Every time they say,
if I called my
every
wife
time-
30%, a shoe would end up in my butt and it would like
I was gonna say,
disappear.
every time they sign off, I hear this weird yelling sound from the west. Sounds almost like a man screaming, but it's so far away, it's hard to make out. But it does kind of sound like a man screaming.
Yes, keep taking poor Melissa.
Oh, poor.
I don't know. I saw a couple videos where the skeptics went and actually things did happen. So it's a little mix of two. But
Yeah,
I've also seen where they do believe, these paranormal investigators, and they go and check out these claims, and there's nothing. So
yeah, there's like so many different places they can go, and like we had touched on a little earlier. I mean, these stories have been in various cultures for thousands of years. So who are we to like really say there's nothing to it? There's been photographic evidence. I mean, I guess it's possible people could fake it, but why would they do that? In some
the photos from 100+ years ago were a little harder to little more easy to spot Photoshop before there was Photoshop, like.
Yeah.
But I do remember one photo from, I'm going to say it's got to be 80, 90 years ago. It's at an old castle church kind of thing. And you could see like the face in one of those, weird little triangle windows. It was a famous photo, but they had to zoom in so you could see the face.
I always look for stuff. I'd love to see a face in a window.
Nice,
sometime.
JBP.
I've seen a lot of photos of that stuff and videos of that stuff. That's quite interesting, especially the older photos.
By JVP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good night.
And anytime we're around old houses and filming or something, I'm always looking for. I'd love to catch that glimpse and catch
Well, there's
it.
another old one. I don't know if anybody had ever seen it. It's old. It's been around a lot. I see it occasionally coming back up in discussions. And it's a woman. Her husband had died previously to her. And an old woman sitting in a chair. And you can see like an image of him behind her.
Later, JB.
With his hands on her shoulders. It's an old picture.
Good night.
And they have even, I guess it comes up now and again because as technology improves, they're still trying to figure out how this apparition's in this picture with this woman that appears to be her husband. If I see a face in my window, I'm throwing a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the face. If it's like transparent, I might freak out. But
No, I've ate the worm several times, Jim. I never did see any green people, but I have an old video somewhere. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
Of me finishing off the bottle of mezcal, and I was taking the worm, and I was being really disgusting with it. So
he's being Robert.
Being Robert, yeah. They don't see that Robert now.
Thankful.
Yeah, they're lucky.
Well, I'll end it on this little story. This isn't supernatural. It's just my fear of water. I was tubing down to Delaware, which was very brave for me because your hiney's in the water. And I don't like any of me in the water if I can't see the bottom. And so we're all floating down. There must have been a dozen of us. And of course, I'm trying to relax and enjoy myself, but all I'm thinking about is kill, and sharks, right? All kinds of things can be trying to kill me in this water. And that I know here says it was a stick. Here where my primordial fear is said, that was a skeleton finger. Touched my butt. I just felt it go across my cheek. And up I went out of that tube, and I was Jesus. I ran right across that water. My tube was still going down the river, but I wasn't. I was done. I was like, a bony finger touched me. They were like,
Bony finger.
They were like, no, it was a stick. I was like, no, that wasn't no stick. That was a skeleton finger. I'm going to get you, Rachel. Yeah. I see that cheek in the water. Bing, bing.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I know that wasn't really an apparition, but that just shows you that my deep-seated fear of water.
Yeah.
I swore Jason was reaching up for me. Come here.
Jason.
Yeah. Coming up slow motion out of the water, like in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually that was a great movie. The first Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Got a little ridiculous with the sequels, but the very first one was a pretty good murder mystery movie.
Yeah. See, we have
and it was also to teach young teenage people to not have sex, because when you do,
or do drugs,
you get gorged through by Jason's mommy.
But we have the Mothman.
Hey, Relic, you guys got Mothman. We got Jersey Devil.
We've never really did any much
Uh-uh.
research on the Mothman, but there are places claim you can go and catch a glimpse of him. Once again, I'd like to do something like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Kevin
what was
Bacon
that?
and
Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since I read about the Mothman. But what was that? The guy named like Ingrid Cold or something like that. It was something.
I know very little.
We know very little about it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'd need to do some research on it because we've never really got interested in. We have a book on weird occurrences and weird things across the United States, and that's in it. But we've never really or been to any of the areas where they claim to see the Mothman. So
I wasn't gonna go to any of those areas.
I figure some of that could have been some really good moonshine that people were drinking back in the day.
Yeah, even the bad moonshine, right? Might make you see some stuff before you go blind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think every area has their legends. Like we got the Jersey
think-
Devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie Jeepers Creepers, like the first part of that movie, where there's the people killed. That was somehow based off of a case in Michigan, where someone had killed people and thrown them in a tube in the ground.
Oh yeah, the first one was pretty good. Kind of weird.
What's that one movie that's out? It's supposed to take place here in West Virginia. With
The Descent took place in West Virginia.
yeah, but there's one. It's they're deformed.
Oh.
Wrong Turn.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wrong Turn.
That took place in West Virginia. Yep.
That's one of my wife's favorite movies.
The best scene is when the girl gets the axe to the face and you
mid.
and her eyes are going like this.
So you keep digging.
Yeah.
Hey, that is.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, I have seen people look real similar to that, and that is no joke.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I've driven through some of them back roads back there. One time. That was enough. They come out their homes like, whoa, what's that?
Yeah. To be fair, that's in a lot of backwood places across the country. It's not, native to West Virginia or anything.
No, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It is.
Yeah, you get into a secluded enough region, it's just
You see some.
They
have
just
seen
didn't
some-
like other people, so they wanted to keep it in the family.
We've seen some pretty wild
Grandma cousins.
way of life out here.
My own grandpa.
Doing
Uncle
the
Dad.
side-by-siding.
Yeah.
We have got into areas that we, definitely made a wrong turn. I kid you not.
Yeah.
And it's best you turn around and go the opposite direction
And never go back
and
again.
never go back again. We have been in those situations, ATV riding.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually had one dude walk out and we were over on the lakeside, and we went by and he's standing up on the guardrail watching us. And I mean, we left him 2-3 blocks back in the woods, and he walked out and followed us that much, and that was creepy.
That was a very odd.
That's a little creepy.
Yeah, so there are hollers and stuff you just don't go up. Truly, you don't. So, yeah, with Halloween coming up too, it gets even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember a few years ago when Halloween, when there was all those people dressing up like clowns freaking people out?
Yeah.
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 You think about it, is it takes a lot of guts for someone to dress up as a clown to try to freak someone out, because depending on where you are, you might get more than you bargained for.
I'm going to tell you, if I see someone come up my road in a clown costume, they will not be going out of my road in a clown costume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because we are, Rachel knows, we are the dead end, and we are in the middle of the woods. and there's one way in and one way out. So you come up here in a clown costume and see where it gets you.
I'm going. We'll put Slash in the clown costume.
Yeah, you're running after rabbits.
Our cottage is on a dead end road. I'm not the last house on the road though, but you know,
We're the last house on the left.
Yeah.
And that's from the movie. Last house on the left. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
we're probably gonna end this now because
yeah, we've got.
it's a Wednesday.
We didn't mean to come up and stay this long, but
it's all right. I'm
It's
glad
a
you
fun
guys
thing
do
to
it.
talk about.
I've enjoyed
It's something different.
sharing our stories and our experiences.
It's been a different type of live stream. It's not been.
Well, Halloween's coming up.
Yes, I
so
know.
That's awesome.
I know.
I'm excited
I am
about this
too.
time of the year.
Thank you, Rachel, for a good evening.
I love when fall and
Thank
Halloween
you for coming up.
and that time of year starts rolling around. And I know Don Relic Reaper, you go over and check out some of it because he is a big
He's
Halloween
a big Halloween fan. Yes.
and they do some awesome decoration in
Last
their
year,
yard.
you need to go back and
And
check out
definitely
some
go
of his.
out and check out
Yeah.
some of his videos.
Yeah, my favorite holiday is Halloween.
I love it.
Absolutely. He does some awesome. I loved his hearse,
Yeah.
old hearse and casket that he had last year. Yeah. We're working on some
Yeah.
ideas for a little Halloween skit, not like we did last year. Last year was pretty good with all the little different skits, but we're going to try to maybe work on a mini movie type thing this year.
Stop stealing my ideas.
We've got some ideas rolling around from here, so
I got some too. So we'll have to have a Halloween movie night made by treasure hunters.
Hey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would
We're
actually
talking
be
about
that.
that, yeah.
That is a thought.
It's funny that you say that because you can go on the archive, the internetarchive.org, and you can find old movies, like the old silent movies that are in public domain, and you can remix them however you want, add voices to them, whatever. It's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll put it out there that 5 to 10 minutes long should be enough to make a little, and we'll showcase them one night.
Yeah.
That is an idea, Rachel.
We're going to go.
They heard it here first.
Absolutely. Jersey
Yeah.
Ray said it first.
Yeah, that is a good idea. Make a little short, creepy movies.
Yeah, 5 to
That's
10
what
minutes
we
long,
did
so we
last
have enough time to show them all. So if you guys want to do that, if you got a camera and you got some scary ideas, have at it.
Throw them together.
We're all amateurs, so
Right.
No,
don't be afraid to do it.
We're professionals here now.
Now, I was trying to make them feel comfortable to do it. They'd be like, "Well, you guys are really good at videos, and we're all amateurs. Don't let him fool
Yeah.
you."
Yes,
We're
are.
going to go, guys.
We're going to go, guys.
Y'all
Thanks
have a
for
good
having
evening.
us up, Rachel. We'll
night,
talk to
everybody.
you
Well, thanks for coming up.
Goodbye.
later, everyone.
Yep. Goodbye, Jersey. I am out of here as well.
All right, Wayne. Thanks for popping up.
Yep. Thanks for
the idea too, and hanging out all night and all that stuff.
Yep. Thanks
Oh,
for
no.
inviting me on the show. It was a lot of fun. It was good evening. So I had a good time.
Yeah, I did too, and I appreciate it. And I'll have you on as a guest one night, and we can find out all about Wayne and the channel Expressions from the Outdoors. Yeah. Nightbot has been sharing his link as well as Dispatch Detecting. So I hope those who haven't checked them out did check them out.
All right.
Jim Still, if you know. All right. Thanks, Wayne. You have a great night.
You too.
And thank you all in the chat for hanging out and putting up with something that was a little bit different than just swinging and detecting children of the corn. Yeah. Amazing. It's like a 5-page story, and they have 3,483 movies from it. But the story in the book was really good. So thank you again, everybody, for hanging out tonight. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I enjoy seeing you every Wednesday night. Coming again next week. If you have an idea for a topic you want to talk about, it doesn't always have to be treasure. Treasure is in the discussions we have too. So, email me. If you don't know it, this is it. There it is. Email me if you have any ideas and you want to come up too, or just want me to talk about it. If you're afraid to, not afraid, but feel like you're not camera worthy. You all are camera worthy. Just saying. But, you can email me. Hey, I'd like to talk about this one night or whatever. I'm open to it. So you guys have a great week. Thank you all so much again. Peace. And if you're out hunting this weekend and it's not raining and it's sunny and hot, make sure you drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of electrolytes. If it's raining, make sure there's no lightning. If it's lightning, don't stand under a tree. All right. So